Have you ever wondered if the way you're editing your videos is actually putting people off from buying from you? I think it might be, because after studying these 6 to 7 figure channels, I saw they all have 3 things in common. I'm going to show you those 3 things and how you can use them to save time, make content creation less stressful, and increase your revenue. I was actually researching for another video when I decided to do this video instead. And it was because of comments like this from Reddit and YouTube. The time it takes is the biggest struggle. Full video production is expensive and the ROI is questionable. Way too much content to edit and not enough time. And this one, what did it for me? Watching smaller channels do better than me with very little effort makes me mad. So what is it about this perceived less effort that makes people make comments like this? Because we have this paradigm that the more you put into your content, the more money you should make from them. But that's not the case, because if you look the way these channels, and you have the names here so you can go and look at them yourself, the way they make their content is very, very different from most other channels on YouTube. And I just wanted to get this out of the way before we move on. The advice I'm going to give you and the pattern I found is not based on entertainment channels. This is step-by-step process for businesses using YouTube as their marketing tool. So if you have a business or something you want to sell and you want to use YouTube to drive in leads and clients, this is the right place. If it's for entertainment, you're in the wrong place. So I built these 2 buckets here. That's the way I see YouTube. You have the typical editing, the content that is focused on retention and keeping people on the platform for as long as possible, because the way they build a channel is through ad revenue or sponsorships and brand deals and stuff like that. And the typical editing style you see with those kind of videos is a lot of animation, tons of sound, a lot of cuts, zooms, and B-rolls. And whilst that is okay for entertainment channel and keeping attention, like a small note here, I want you to understand that not all attention is created equal, because you can watch a movie and just watch it for the sake of watching it, and you can watch some content that actually solves a problem you are having. But the way you're making these kind of entertainment content here is usually something with this in mind, and this entertainment is getting people a dopamine hit. It gets them to click, it gets their attention, and here's the important part I want you to remember. It creates a channel association. So there's an association built with this in mind. This is what people are used to, and when they see this, they think it's entertainment. So if you go and build your content that is made for bringing in clients for you or solving a problem, building authority and stuff like that, way different than the entertainment style. What you're going to see is you put this kind of editing into your content, your conversion content I call it, and you're going to get people to have a dopamine hit, and they're going to associate your channel with its entertainment. And that's not what you want to be doing if you're having a business try to run through YouTube. So if you go over to the other side here, where everything is focused on driving in leads, clients, selling your product, building authority and trust with your viewer base, I call this conversion editing. It's very minimal, it's low cognitive load, it's easy, it's good return of investment, and it's a hell of a lot less stressful than making the other kind of content. So if you do this kind of editing on your conversion content, what you see is you're going to solve a problem, it's going to increase your revenue, and it's a channel association here. It solved my problem. And that's build trust. It gets people to come back to you, because if they have a main problem, that problem usually have sub-problems that you are most likely going to have some kind of solution to. So they're going to come back to that. And if you do the same kind of editing for your entertainment channel, what you're going to see is people getting very confused, like, where's my dopamine? And they're going completely, Ray! So what are these 3 patterns and what makes them effective? And to answer that question, I actually spent close to 17 hours researching and building this model here. So I built this model for myself to better understand what drives viewers on YouTube to act in a way that's beneficial to you. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm talking about actually being helpful for your viewer And if you're having a business or running a business, that's what you want to be doing. You want to understand what actually gets these people to act, because that's what's basically running a business is. You want them to act in a way where you solve a problem for them, and in return they're giving money to you. So in short, this is a way to explain how people function and how you can lean into that to make better content. And the overarching theme here is survival. That's what I'm trying to show with this, and it kind of bleeds into this kind of pyramid form here is survival. And I know it sounds way out there, but this isn't something I just pulled out of my ass. It's based on actual science and research done by BJ Fogg, probably butchering his name, by the way, John Sweller, a fucking dope name, and Kahneman and Tversky. By the way, if you want the full extended version that has a lot of more explanation and how to use the model, the link is down in the description. So let's look at pattern number 1. Pattern number 1 is these channels use a heck of a lot more time having their face on the screen and using a lot less B-roll. Why does that matter? You have to think of humans as tribal. Why is tribal important? Because we had way bigger odds of surviving when sticking together with other people in a tribe. But for a tribe also to be functional, we have to trust our tribesmen. And one of the ways we build trust is by looking at people's faces, looking into their eyes, reading their mimic. And that's not the only way to build trust, but that's a big part of it. And why this matters for your video is because that's one of the biggest way to build trust with your viewers is they can see and read your mimic and watch your face. And guess what B-roll does? It completely cuts up that trust building process. And if you go and watch these channels, you can see what I'm meaning here. Most of the time, this is what you're seeing. And if you want to explain something that has some steps or some point to it, keep your face just in the corner so people can still watch your mimic and watch your eyes and your facial expressions. So how can you do that? You can fill everything talking to a camera. If you need to show information, use a split screen like we saw with Ed just before. You on one side, key points on the other side. If you absolutely need to go full screen with a diagram or a chart, pop yourself in a small box in the corner, or if there's simply enough room for it. I'm not saying B-rolls are bad, but you have to think of it, they have to serve a purpose for your overall content. And if you're explaining something abstract, it makes sense to use a B-roll where you can actually fill out a screen to kind of express or make this abstract more concrete for your viewer. So that's pattern number 1. Kill 80% of your B-roll. Pattern number 2. Less is more, low cognitive load. So what I saw a pattern when with these challenges up here is they're extremely easy to follow. The language they're using, the editing they're using. You can see Ed here, for example. This is just dead simple, and it's not stupid. It's simple and it's easy to follow along, and I'm gonna get a bit deeper into that, why that's important. But if you go to the model here, rule number 3 is we protect our energy. The harder something is to follow along and actually understanding, the more energy we're going to use on it. You have to think of your viewer as having an energy bank. Every time they're watching your video, they're pulling energy out of that bank. The less energy they have at the end of the video, where you want them to take some kind of certain action, go to their website, sign up for a newsletter, buy their product or something like that, they have less energy to actually do that. And if they have no energy, they're not going to do it. So the more energy they have, the more likely they are to follow up on your call to action. So how can you do just that? Keep it simple. 2 or 3 text style, insert your own color screen with a step number like we saw with Ed, a split screen with bullet points, a full screen diagram with yourself in the corner, kind of like with what we talked about in pattern number 1. Every video, same system, no creative decision in the edit. It's going to be easier for you to do. It's also going to be easier for your viewer to do. So that's pattern number 2. Let's move on to pattern number 3, which is don't make them remember everything. If you've watched a video before and it had like 10 steps, at step number 3, I bet you don't remember what step number 1 was. And I bet you don't remember what step number 1 was when I went through it here. And why is that a problem? Because if you have to remember something, if you have to remember 10 steps in your head and you don't have anything to kind of follow along on, it's going to be spending energy. And rule number 3 is we protect our energy at all costs. So how can you help your viewer to not spend that energy so they have more energy to the end of the video to actually do what you want them to do? You can, like I did here, every time you teach a framework or solve a problem, a step-by-step system, build it on screen as you go. That's what I did here with putting on screen pattern number 1, pattern number 2, showing you the model, showing you why it matters, putting text on the screen so you can actually get your thoughts on to the screen instead of trying to have everything going on in here. So you put it gets a lot more concrete when you're actually seeing with your own eyes and you have the visual aspects of it. Step numbers stay visible, key points accumulate. After each step, briefly recap what it was about, then move to the next. After the final step, you do a refresher of it. How does that look? I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're doing here. Step 1. The pattern 1 is built into steps here. Keep your face on the screen. Your viewer needs your face to trust. B-roll fucks that up. Stay on screen. Split screen for information. Don't disappear. And as I mentioned before, it's not a death sin to put up a B-roll that takes up the entire screen. Just focus on having your face as much on the screen as possible to have this trust-building process going for longer. Step number 2, cut out all unnecessary motion. Every animation and zoom costs your viewer energy they need for understanding your idea and acting on your call to action. Pick 2 or 3 static text style and make it as easy for yourself as possible, to make it as easy as possible for your viewer. Step number 3, build your solution on screen. Don't make them hold it all in their head. Each step stays visible as you add the next. By the end, the full framework is on screen in one image, like we're doing here with the refresher. So with these patterns and the steps to use those patterns, you're going to save yourself a buttload of time. You're going to make it a heck of a lot less stressful to do content, and you're going to increase your revenue in your business because it is lower cognitive load on your viewer and they actually have more energy to actually do what it is you want them to be doing. And again, if you want the full version of this model, which is a work in progress, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, what was good and what was bad, the link is down in the description. You can get it for free. Yeah,